Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cash Flow with JVH. Today I'm going to talk about my 5 tips on finding stocks to trade in a bull market. And I have a lot of people coming to me all the time saying, hey, what indicators do you use? What strategies do you use? How do you find the stocks that you invest in, right? How do I know what's going to go up, what's going to go down? So there are a lot of different indicators and a lot of different research that I put into finding stocks in a bull market. But today I'm going to list the top 5 tips that I recommend based on how I find the stocks in a bull market. As always, I really appreciate everybody trying to spread the love. Give me a good thumbs up on this video, as well as make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this channel. You can find more links and how you can support this channel in the description below. You can also join our Discord group, or you can also if you're not on Robinhood, you can subscribe to Robinhood using my referral link in the description. It gets you a free share of stock, it gets me a free share of stock, and I also provide my Venmo information as well. So my first suggestion as far as context goes in these 5 tips: do your own research, right? Make sure that you're putting in the effort, putting in the time, putting in the energy to make sure that the stocks that you're going to buy are the ones that you want to own. And again, I have different strategies, right? I have a different strategy for long-term stocks, short-term stocks, speculative stocks, right? I have different strategies on options. So I do have a video that talks about those strategies that I'm going to put a link above right here. You can check that out on how to buy and share and sell stocks based on the strategies and analysis that I use. But again, do your own research, do your own analysis, check out and learn as much as possible on trying to figure out what to buy, when to buy, and what not to buy. But again, don't fall into analysis paralysis, right? Don't overanalyze every single thing. Don't be afraid to pull the trigger on certain things. If you know that you've done, your research, you've put in the energy and the effort, then it's okay. It's little risk is okay. Tip number 1, capitalize on stock specific news. Now, this could be something that's completely surprising. This could be something that the underlying stocks company came out and announced recently. Make sure that it's good news, right? We want to make sure that it's not something negative. We want to make sure that it's not something that's going to impact. Make sure that it's not something like a lawsuit that was filed against the company, right? This is good, surprising, unmitigated news that the company itself has released. A great example of that, right, is this past Friday, December 18th, 2020, Nike released their earnings, and they were explosive. It was great earnings. They also announced that they are releasing a new sneakers app, right? So information like this, news like this, keep track of all of the earnings that are coming up for the week or the next 2 weeks to understand who's going to be releasing earnings, what the analysts are predicting those earnings to be, right? And if you want to wait until after the earnings just to kind of see where things go, things may go up, things may go down, right? It all depends on what the news is, how people interpret that news. Even if the stock goes down after those earnings, look at that as an opportunity to buy. It's always going to be a possibility that the stock will go down even after the company releases good news. But if you're really interested in that stock, right, that's something that you've done your research on, and you like the stock overall for the long term, even the short term, look at the stock going down as an opportunity to buy. You can wait till it goes down and then starts to climb back up. You could also do it that way. Strategy tip number 2: go for the obvious plays, right? So you want to look at companies that have strategic or have historically done very well. There is a lot of growth or even just steady growth, right? So things like Dollar General, Home Depot, Walmart, Apple, right? The stocks that are, it's a really good firm foundation in the company itself. Great leadership, great financial management, great money management. They keep their stockholders happy, possibly even pay out dividends every month or every quarter, right? Historically have done very, very well those are the companies that you also want to play into. You want to buy into those stocks. It's a great bull market because you know in the long run it's going to go up. Strategy tip number 3, impact research, right? So this is when another reliable source, and we're talking about, things like CNN, things like MarketWatch, right? Investment.com, companies or even financial institutions, right? So a great example of this would be this past week, Microsoft. Citi came out and basically reported that the Azure strength to in the cloud market for Microsoft is going to boom, even more so than Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud, right? So Citi is projecting that Microsoft is going, their cloud and Azure service is going to boom in the near term. So something like this is considered an impact research, something where an outside source is reporting good news, very similar to my tip number 1. Another reliable source is reporting good news on the underlying stock. Strategy tip number 4, new stocks that become public that fit current trends. So I am not saying to jump on every single IPO bandwagon, every meme stock that becomes publicly traded, right? Understand what the company does from a foundational standpoint. How has the company been generally run from a financial management strategy? How innovative is that company? But also make sure that, and this kind of goes as part of this tip, you have to make sure that they fit the current trend. So for example, right now we're in a pandemic. It's December of 2020, right? We have a vaccine coming out, but the general assumption is most people are not going to be going back to work. It's going to be a stay-at-home mindset and reality for a while. So play on the stay-at-home trend, right? So that is the current trend. So a couple examples of this trend in stocks that just became publicly traded would be like Airbnb and Snowflake, right? So Snowflake is all about cloud infrastructure and storage. That's a huge topic right now with a lot of people staying at home. Companies need cloud storage to keep all of their employees connected, right? It's been the wave of the future, but now it's been ramped up even more so. Airbnb, right? It is the place, if you are traveling, it's the one place that you can go, that you can find a place instead of relying on hotels, instead of relying on the typical places to stay. During this pandemic, Airbnb is offering a great service for you to find places that you can stay, that you'll feel safe, that you will feel a sense of security, right? So Airbnb became public. So these are 2 example stocks that are new. They fit the current trend. Now, I am not saying to jump on the IPO bandwagon and buy as soon as they become public, right? A lot of people do that. It goes up and then it crashes. I've seen it dozens of times. What I'm suggesting is keep an eye on that stock, right? Once they go public, you're going to see it spike, and then you're going to see it crash, and then you're going to see it go back, and then you're going to see it go back down, right? Wait until it starts to stabilize, right? Wait until you start to see where it just kind of settles, and then look to buy. And if it does go back down, that's okay, because you've already done your research. You know that it's going to be a long-term investment anyway, so you know it's going to start creeping up. So that's another example of waiting for a little bit for something that's an IPO to kind of settle and stabilize. Tip number 5, this is the last one. So you want to find veteran stocks that have a lot of momentum, also following the current trends. So again, we talked about this in tip number 4, where you want to find stocks that fit the current trend. Right now it's stay at home. But you also, instead of jumping on the IPOs that are coming into the market, you also want to find veteran stocks that also play well into the current trends. So for example, for stay at home, I have 2 examples, Roku and DocuSign. Both have been doing extremely well. They've got a lot of momentum. They've got a lot of volume, a lot of buyers. The stocks have both been going up tremendously over the last 6 to 9 months, right, during this, in the heart of this pandemic. And they're veteran stocks. You know that they're going to do really well. They have a history of doing really well, and they're going to continue to grow, right? So again, find not only stocks that are new to the market and new to the public offering, but veteran stocks that have done well and have a lot of momentum that are driving towards this trend that you're currently seeing. And again, it doesn't have to be the stay-at-home trend, right? Whatever trend, you know, a couple years from now is the new trend, and it's growing. Find stocks, both new and veteran stocks, that are geared specifically towards that trend. Okay, I told you it was going to be a quick one. I really appreciate everybody, you know, following the channel. If you could, click subscribe, click and like this video as well. Check out my other videos that are available in the channel. As always, if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, put them in the comment section below. Please feel free to check out the links that I have to help support this channel in the description. And as always, I really appreciate everybody's time, and have a great day. See you next time.